Hey, you guys, this is an aerial shot of San Diego, California. Beautiful! I will not be caught dead living in California. Their laws, their rules, their regulations are weird as hell. Their ideologies weird as hell. It's almost like California is another planet. And the prices, forget it. Forget it. Forget about it. Okay, there's no way in hell. But to visit, I had a great time. I visited there where I was living at the time. When I visited there, it was winter. You had to wear coats and hats and the whole bit. And I traveled across country and I went to California, San Diego in the winter. And it was in the 60s. And I'm like, hey, hey, this is what I'm talking about. My body was very confused though, because where I lived was was extremely cold, and then you go somewhere where it isn't, and you're like, what? Your body gets really confused. So, today, my darlings, I want to talk to you about. I always emphasize you got to go to therapy, you got to go to therapy. A lot of us came from dysfunctional families. Our parents are losers, and we can't choose our parents because we were not conceived. We had no say so in all of that. Okay, we didn't even exist at the time. And when, excuse me, when you have dysfunctional parents, sadistic, manipulative, rattlesnake for parents, okay? Going to therapy should be a given because, I mean, come on, look what you come from. And I had an anger problem when I was in my 20s. If you look at me wrong, I want to pop you in the face. I was really angry, and I was married at the time. He wasn't the narcissist, but he was emotionally unavailable, so needless to say that marriage didn't last. But I have nothing against him at all. Anyway, he says, you have an anger problem. You get mad at the drop of a hat. What are you trying to say? Which confirms he told me I needed to get some help, and I went off on him, which is which is emphasizing his point that I needed therapy. Somebody tells you need help and you go off, all you're doing is proving their case. I'm extremely tired. Oh, sorry guys, bear with me. I have chronic fatigue syndrome, so in addition to a whole bunch of other stuff, so I'm tired all the time, and my body doesn't allow me to get proper sleep, and it's just a vicious cycle, whatever the hell you want to call it. Anyway, so he was military at the time, so there was no excuse for me not to go. It wasn't going to cost me a dime, so there's no excuse not to go. Absolutely no reason not to go. Even if you're not military, find out if you have insurance with your job. Find out if your insurance will cover therapy. You don't need to tell them why. You just need to look into it and see. And some group therapies are actually free for your community, so it's worth looking into. One thing that you have to do when you go to therapy, before you go into therapy, you have to put yourself in a mindset of, I'm going to have to purge. I'm going to have to spill the beans on everything. You don't have to do it the first day. All right? And you couldn't cover all of it in one day. If you grew up with crazy parents, it's going to take a while to purge from all that. But you're going to do it gradually. And I'm going to tell you from experience. I'm going to tell you what therapy was like for me, and I'm going to tell you what to expect. Therapists are human beings. So some of them are good and some of them aren't. Some doctors are good, some are not. Some cops are good, some cops are dirty. Some teachers are good, other teachers not so much. So you cannot go one time and say, well, that didn't work, I'm out. and not go again. That's not, you wouldn't do that if your doctor was lousy. You would just change doctors. If you're smart, you would change doctors. Well, therapy is no different. You have to try them on, so to speak, almost like a pair of shoes, and you will know when you find the one that you all are compatible. You will know. You will absolutely know. Some of them are idiots. A lot of them are off themselves. I'm just going to keep it real with you. A lot of them are off themselves, and they got into it so they could understand what the hell's wrong with them. So you have to experiment with who's going to work for you. For you. Okay, I went into one therapist's office and I never went back to her again. I sat in there. I should have left. I should have up and left, and I didn't. I was very patient. I don't know why, but I was. This bitch was on the phone for 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes on a personal call while I sat in there waiting for our session to start. You don't do that. That's very, extremely unprofessional, and I never went back to her again. Obviously, but I should have left. I should have said, okay, well, you're busy. That's what I should have said. In retrospect, I should have said, you're busy, so you really don't have time to do your job. I'm out, and just leave. And make sure that they don't charge for the session, because she didn't do nothing except talk on the phone with her buddy or her man or whoever. So I dropped her like a bad habit, and there were a couple of them that just weren't good. And so I finally, at that point I was affiliated with the military, with the Air Force, and I finally found one who, I'm just going to be straight with you, he pissed me off. He pissed me off right in the beginning. He pissed me off because he was very, 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 very good at what he did, and it's not going to feel good. He went straight for the emotional bullseye. We are not going to, gently approach. We're not going to tiptoe. We're not going to do it gradually. We're going straight for the gold. And I'm like, damn. In retrospect, I appreciate him the most because he was like that. But at the time, you've got so much going on, and one of my worst things was the mother. I mean, both parents are losers, don't get me wrong, but she, as a mother, it's especially horrible if you don't love your children, because even animals in the wild love their kids. Everybody with brains knows that if you are anywhere near the vicinity of a mama bear and her cubs, she's going to whoop your ass every day from Monday to Sunday until you learn a lesson. You weren't nowhere near her cubs. You didn't deliberately go near them. You just hiking. She's going to whoop your ass or worse. Any mother, well, I'm thinking of a mother bird right now. She was pretending her wing was broken to keep me away from her babies. That's why that popped in my head. But mother animals don't play. They don't play. I was at my friends. They have their brother-in-law has a lot of land, and they had cattle. And I went to go see the cattle, and because the mom had a baby, newborn baby. I think it was born within 24 hours, or it was real new. And when the mom wasn't looking, I sneaked and pet the baby. Oh, I must have had a death wish. That mother cow whipped her head around and stared deep in my soul. And I understood. No words were said. She can't talk. But honey, I got the message crystal clear. She looked at me like, try that shit again. She gave me the most evil look, and I'm like, I'm sorry. And I backed off because I don't really feel like getting an ass whooping from a cow. That would be bad. So mothers, usually, unless something's wrong with them, you know what I mean? Mothers will do anything to protect their children. They want their children happy. They are going to protect their children. If they find out somebody at the school is bullying their child, they will go take a day off work or work a half a day and go marching over to that school. I want the principal now. Somebody's bullying my baby and I'm not having it. And from what I understand, y'all don't take that very seriously. That's the reason I'm here. I don't play that. So for a mother to not have that instinct inside of her to protect her young, oh my God, like what is severely wrong with you? You know what I mean? The list is long in her case. So the father, I'm not trying to be mean or funny, but when he does his thing, it skips off, dumps the family, don't give a shit that he got kids, gets with another woman. She got kids. He takes real good care of those kids and doesn't give a damn about the first family that he created. He ain't really tripping off that. I got my own thing going on over here. I don't really care about y'all. We kind of expect, I'm not trying to be mean, but we expect men to do that because they've done that through all the centuries, decades, abandon their family. That ain't nothing new. Okay? And they'll abandon their families for asinine reasons, like usually for another piece of butt. I mean, they're just ridiculous. But a mother doing that? A mother? You carried this baby in you for 9 months, 3 months shy of a year, and you can't stand them? There's something especially horrific about that. And then you proceed to abuse the child on top of that. So it's just, I don't know. It's just, there's no words for that. It's just, there's no words. So he says, with all that being said, my counselor, the military one, he said, let's talk about your mother. Oh, good God. Why did he go there? Man, I was twisting and turning in that chair. I could not get comfortable. Twist and turn, twist and turn. I said, I don't want to talk about her. And he said, all the more reason why we need to talk about her. So don't expect it to feel good. It's not. It is absolutely not going to feel good. It's like psychological surgery. It's going to hurt. And you have to be prepared for that. And you have to be prepared to be angry. You have to be prepared to cry. You're going to have to be emotionally naked in front of your therapist. There's no two ways around it. There's no shortcut. We got to go straight for the bullseye. And obviously through my body language, he knew, oh yeah, I hit the right target today. Let's talk about your mother. And I'm flipping and flopping like a fish out of water. So obviously, yeah. He hit the bullseye. And I was pissed. But it's not going to feel good. It's psychological surgery. Yes, you're going to get your situation corrected. But the pain after surgery, you gotta be on your heavy duty pain meds, and you have to use crutches or a sling in your arm or whatever the hell. It's not gonna be fun. But it's all for the better good long term. So it's temporary inconvenience for long term success. And he was one of my favorite therapists. Not at the time, because I'm like, you going into some forbidden territory, brother. But anyway, and then I ended up going a couple of times in my life because the last one that I saw, which was about 5 years ago, I revealed things to her that I don't know if I couldn't discuss it because he was a man. My previous was a man. I don't know, but I didn't mention it, or I hadn't come to terms with it or something. And I told her about the father making me get undressed to beat me. There's no reason for that. So you've got this person with nothing on, and you're beating the shit out of them. So you're basically, it's a form of S&M. You're causing physical agony on somebody, and they don't have, they're not dressed. And it's sick, demented, twisted, and there is absolutely no reason for it other than he's a sick bastard. He was also a whore. He never was faithful to anyone he's ever been with. You must be kidding me. He's a full-blown narcissist. Both of them are. The gaslighting, denying this happened. When I was there, I had a front row seat. Don't freaking tell me that it didn't happen. I had a front row seat. Don't you dare. Don't you freaking dare. I might not remember what I did 5 minutes ago, but I damn sure remember how I was raised, okay, bitch? Don't. Don't you dare try to gaslight me. Don't. So, when I told her about that, and I was so flustered, and my face is hot. I'm sure my face is red like a cooked lobster. I'm so upset. I'm fighting tears. And it was at the end of the session, which really sucks. She got me to go to a group for women who have been sexually abused. Because, again, that is S&M, has S&M qualities to it. And it's just 1,000% uncalled for. You're looking at a young woman's body while it's developing, you're getting off on that, and you're beating the hell out of her. I mean, what the... So, yeah. I went to that group, and all women were in there, and all of them have been through some type of physical and or sexual abuse. It was weird. Every person in there has been abused to some extent or another. So when men think that we're being paranoid or we're going overboard and why are you acting like that? It's not that bad. Correction. It's not that bad for you because you are a man. Okay. Unless the parents sexually abused him, which is very possible, and it does happen. It's not talked about, but it does happen. Males get abused too. Boys get abused also. Sexually abused. It's not just girls. It just isn't. And the group helped a lot. It was mind-blowing. Every woman in the group has been sexually assaulted or treated inappropriately sexually by parents. One of the parents or both. I mean, or boyfriend, husband, whatever. I mean, all of them have been through it, and this is a common thread. Men don't live in that world unless it happens to them. And it is rare, but it still happens. But men don't have to. Men aren't targeted like women are. They're just not. Usually, I have to put that disclaimer in there. Usually, they're not targeted like we are. You don't have breasts for some guy to walk by and just grab a handful of breasts, okay? You don't have breasts. Now, men can definitely abuse other men, and they do. They absolutely do. But it is, the scales are way, if you imagine a seesaw, the scales are tipped way in on the side of women. Where, you got two kids on a seesaw and one kid's up in the air and the other one's down on the ground. See how uneven that is? Well, that's how it is with how women get targeted. It's that uneven. It's directed, excuse me, directed more towards women by far. And it doesn't make it any better that the guys are not abused as much. Abuse is unacceptable regardless, But guys don't generally, as a general rule, they don't have to be nearly as careful as we have to be. I mean, that goes without saying. And like I said, y'all need to really take that into consideration because you have daughters. You have to think like, okay, well, I have a girl, and guys are going to want to target her and flirt with her. And like I said, adults are flirting with children nowadays. It's almost normal for them. It's creepy as fuck. I don't know why, but it's creepy. But it's a common thing. Anyway, there was another incident that occurred that didn't want to tell my counselor at the time, and she was wonderful too. Oh my God, she is so gentle and so sweet and so soft spoken and so kind. I love her. I love her. I love her. And I saw her many years later, way later, and I studied her, and I'm like, that looks like Fran. I kept staring at her because we're in the store. I kept staring at her. I said, excuse me, is your name Fran? She goes, yeah. I said, oh my God. And I gave her the biggest hug in the world. And I said, oh my God, I was one of your clients. And I told her my name. And she goes, oh, hey, how are you? I said, I'm doing good. Oh my God, I love her to the moon and back. Oh my God. So when I was her client, I told her something I never told any other counselor. And I was terrified to tell her. I'm going to just be very transparent with you guys today. Well, I'm always transparent with you, but I'm just saying I don't talk about this, okay? And I hadn't talked about it until I met her, and I was terrified to tell her because she's probably going to pass out. She's going to fall out the chair. Her jaw's going to hit the floor. And none of these things are going to happen, only in your mind, okay? Because your therapist has heard it all. Your therapist has heard it all. There is not a damn thing that you could tell them that's going to make them go, what the? Nothing. Nothing. That's only in your head. They've heard it all. They've heard horrific things that they could never talk about in public, in a public setting. Okay? Horrific things. So there's nothing you could tell them. But in my mind, I'm thinking I can't tell her because she's going to pass out or her jaw's going to hit the floor. Which isn't true. But I had been holding it and holding it and holding it and holding it. And I couldn't take it no more. And I finally, if you can't trust Fran, you can't trust nobody. Okay? That's just one of those situations. And I told her something the father used to do he always beat the holy crap out of me. And there was no reason for it. I wasn't a bad kid. And for some strange, he made me stand in a corner, and for some strange reason, he would get a wad, like, you know how you get a roll of toilet paper with all the toilet paper on it, obviously, right? And he would shove that in my mouth and use it as a ball gag and wrap tape around it to hold it in place. And since I couldn't swallow, I'd be, drooling all over it, and it'd be a soggy mess, and that's like a total waste of toilet paper. But I guess it got his dick hard or something. I don't know. He's just a sadistic son of a bitch is what that is. Anyway, and through the whole years, all the years, I never told anybody. Even when I had every opportunity, I never said it. And I finally told her. And I feel horrible, but I can't hold the pressure anymore. It's almost like a teapot. Like the teapot starts to whistle. It can't take it anymore. And I was like that. And I finally spilled the beans, and I told her that he had done that. And she didn't pass out. Surprise, surprise. She didn't pass out. Okay. She was like, okay. And how did that make you feel? And she's such a soft place to land. I will love her until I die. I mean, she just tender, soft, loving, kind. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Just spectacular as far as I'm concerned. And I came to terms with it. And it's such a massive, big deal for me to be able to talk to you all about that today and not get emotional and not cry, because who does that? Who does that? Somebody who's very, very demented. That's who does that. And instead of the perpetrator feeling shame, the shame gets transferred to the victim. I don't know how that happens, but it does. The victim feels embarrassment. The victim feels shame. And that's, it should be the other way around. And they want it to be that way. The perpetrator wants to do that. They want you to feel shame and embarrassment and to never be able to talk about it publicly. The hell with that. The hell with that. That's, everything that you hold in stays there. And it builds and it builds and it builds. You're not doing yourself any favors by keeping it in, because it comes out either in the form of depression, but more commonly, it comes out in the form of anger. And if somebody looks at you wrong, you want to basically cuss them out. What the F are you looking at? What are you looking at? And the person's just like, whoa, okay. I didn't go off like that, but I would give people dirty looks. Like, they would cut me off when I'm driving. I'd give them a dirty look, like, you want me to whoop your ass? Type of thing. And, it gets to a point where it just builds. It doesn't go any damn where. It just builds and it comes out in the form of anger. So you have to release that with a professional. You just have to. Writing a journal helps a lot too. You're going to find a couple of therapists that ain't worth two pennies you can rub together. When you finally find the good one, do not give up. Do not give up. When you find the good one, you will know. It will feel like a comfortable pair of shoes. Okay? It will feel cozy and it'll feel like home, and you'll feel like I could breathe and I could reveal whatever I need to reveal, and I'm good and I'm good. It's not going to be fun. I'm going to be angry. I'm going to cry. I'm going to maybe hyperventilate a little bit. And there's nothing wrong with that. You've got to purge it out of your system. Your body holds on to stress, and it will hold on to stress for your life, for your whole life. And the way I grew up, I do feel is why I have fibromyalgia. I think that is exactly why I have it, because I was abused, punched, beaten, knocked downstairs, you name it. She almost dislocated my arm one time. She yanked it so hard behind my back, I thought it was going to dislocate. She's a fucking nurse. And abusive as hell. I hope she didn't do that to her patients, because a lot of medical people are fucked up in their heads. They are. I don't care what nobody says. I worked in the medical field. I freaking know. And I know a lot of cases where nurses have actually taken their patients' lives. They got caught, thank God. Eventually they got caught. And they were stealing, some nurses will steal, doctors too, will steal medicine and get hooked on it, become drug addicts. And, come on. Just because they work in a helping capacity career, that does not mean they're good people. Okay? Because she's a nurse and she's a vicious bitch. She'll never change. Never. She's just horrible. Both the parents, like I said, are absolutely horrible people. And I'm grateful that I'm not like them. I am so grateful that I'm not like them. So grateful. So you have to be psychologically butt-ass naked in front of your therapist. You have to. You cannot be ashamed. You cannot be embarrassed. You're probably going to feel those things, but it's okay. It's okay. That's just the way it goes. But to get it out of your system is what you want to do. Because it will cause it'll cause a massive amount of emotional damage. It could be responsible for your divorce, because your spouse doesn't know what in the hell's wrong with you, and they're sick to death of it, and they leave. Your kids may not be. The kids may be afraid of you. Mom or dad flips off at the drop of a hat. What the hell's going on? And I'm a very passionate person. Very passionate person. Not because I was abused, but because I protect people who never had protection. I will fight to the death for someone. I will fight to the death. And I guess that's a positive flip side of being abused and having absolutely no one in my corner no human being. God was in my corner, but no one was in my corner. And to this very day, the silver lining is, if somebody gets abused in front of me, we gonna have problems, because I'm not gonna let you do that. I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you. Okay. So that's a silver lining of the result of the shit that I've been through. So, like I said, therapists are like a pair of shoes. You got to try them on till you find one that fits. And once you find them, stick with them. If you got to reveal something that makes you feel horrible and you can't look at them, that's fine. Look around the room, look in your lap, look at your hands, whatever you got to do, but just get it out of your system, because it's going to help you in the long run. All right? I love you guys. Take care. Much love. Bye-bye.